Welcome to GFAtv, and this is TY. So this episode, I'm going to discuss with you what is the essentials of right hand technique. There's a lot to summarize. So let's get started. It's 5:18 p.m. Let's get down to business. Okay, so the hand position. If you look from the audience view, you should see the elbow to fingers, it should be relatively straight line, okay? And then if you look down from the player's perspective, is a natural curve, okay? There's no flat part anywhere. It's a natural curve, and remember to have a slightly higher wrist. The reason is because when you play the IMA fingers, so IMA fingers, if you have a higher wrist, you don't need to overcurve your fingers trying to avoid the other strings. It's going to just naturally flow over the rest of the lower strings. It's very, very efficient. Okay, now let's talk about the finger movements. For thumb, majority I use rest stroke. So I'm going to play a string and then rest on the following string, rest stroke. So the exercise I do in the very beginning of the morning is this. So making contact with your fingernail and the flash together, and then playing the bass note with only the joints. The third joint, second joint, and first joint. I use the third joint, okay, here, right here. And do not use your hand or elbow to help it. Do not do this, okay? It's less efficient. So we want to use only the fingers. As you see, what we're trying to do here, okay, second level, what we're trying to do is create this muscle efficiency and memory that after we're playing a note, put it on the next, prepare it for the next following note, okay, immediately, like this. So play 6, rest on 5, rest on 4, after play 4, rest back on 5, rest back on 6, okay, like this. And then the last, just regular. One more time. That's for the bass. Now let's try the trebles. IMA fingers. Okay, so when I play the IMA fingers, I naturally put my thumb on one of the bass strings to help for stability, and then kind of relax half-ish of the weight on the thumb. Okay, so help for us to relax more when you're playing. Okay, so there's the 3 steps of playing a string. So first is making contact. So let's use I finger as an example. So the first step is you try to make the contact with the left side of your fingers and with the flash and fingernail together, but almost a little bit towards more of the flash. It is because you don't want to create a noise if you contact the string with your fingernails directly, like this, like here. This is fingernail only, so we want to have more flash at first. Okay, and now second step, we're going to pressing in. The direction is 2 ways. So you're thinking about I'm pressing into the guitar sound hole, pressing into the body of the guitar, and also another force is going inside your palm. Okay, so it's kind of like diagonal force. So you pull it in. Second step, very important, feel the pressure. Okay, third, we're going to release the strings. It's like you're releasing the bow. Okay, so it's not really, I'm going to pluck the strings. Okay, it's not, we're going to pull it away. We're already pressing it really hard, so we just release it. Very minimal motion. Try to feel this. Barely moving. Less than 1 centimeters of movement is ideal, like this. Okay, so do not try to do this. That's too much movement. So this is our goal. Try to practice fast, but only if you can maintain the quality. Okay, this exercise, try this. So contact, press, release, relax. Middle finger, contact, press, release, small motion, relax. Ring finger the same, contact, press, release. Okay. So at first you try on every single strings PIMA with a little exercise you can do. If you remember, on the left hand exercises, I talk about little twinkle star. Okay, on the 5th fret. And also the treble octave. Okay, so we're going to use that. So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, 1 exercises. You can do left hand and also right hand. Okay. What we want to do is right stroke for all basses. Very easy, like this. And keep going. For the top octave, what we can do is we're going to double each phrase. The first phrase we do rest stroke on A fingers. Second phrase we repeat with the free stroke. And as we know, the free stroke is very hard to get a full sound and full round sound with a very deep volume as good as our rest strokes. So we try to use our ears to really trying to bring the free strokes close to our rest strokes. So rest. Followed by repeating free stroke. Next phrase you can actually change the finger combination M and A. Rest stroke. And then free stroke. And you can change to I and A. Etc. Okay. So that is for this episode, and see you in the next one.
Guitar festivals, masterclasses, community, academic studies of the guitar. All of these are thanks to the work, contributions, and passion of Andrés Segovia. And if it wasn't for him, we may not be experiencing guitar in the same way that we get to experience it today. Although Andrés Segovia was a strong personality, nobody can deny the fact that he is one of the most, if not the most, influential influencers. No one can deny the fact that he is one of the most, if not the most, influential guitar influencer ever to be. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about why he's so amazing. Because Andrés Segovia contributed so much to the guitar, it would be impossible to talk about him in one 6-minute segment. So, just for you, I'm breaking this up into 3 mini episodes. This week, we're just going to be talking about an overview. In the next video, I'll be talking about the music of Andrés Segovia and the many composers he inspired to write for the guitar. And in the 3rd episode, we'll be talking about his legacy and all the things he left behind for us to enjoy today. Without further ado, I think it's time that we get right into it and start talking about why Andrés Segovia was so important and why you should know about him too. Segovia was born in 1893, and over the course of his life went from being a young boy with an aptitude for music to being one of the greatest guitar concert artists of all time. From a very young age, he was recognized for being talented in music, and his uncle enrolled him in his first music lessons. He started out playing violin, fun fact, but his teacher was a little bit of a dingus head, and his strict methods kind of forced Segovia into not wanting to play music, until he and his uncle moved to Granada. Granada is kind of known as like this birthplace, melting pot for all different styles of classical and flamenco guitar. And although Segovia knew about flamenco guitar, it wasn't quite his pace, so he chose to study works of Giuliani and Fernando Sor, to name a couple. In his later teenage years, Segovia began concertizing in Granada and Madrid. He was criticized for his kind of strange technique that was unique to him. But technique wasn't as big a deal for him as getting a musical point across, and that was truly where his it factor shined. Star quality. Yeah. The maestro's repertoire at the time was limited to Giuliani, Carcassi, Sor, Tarrega, and he wanted something more from the guitar. He wanted great composers who were not guitarists to be writing for the guitar. Segovia always criticized the guitar for having too few guitarists and too few great composers writing for the guitar. So his goal was to change that, to get famous composers who weren't guitarists to write for guitar and bring the classical guitar to an international, unrelenting power. It wasn't before long that Segovia got mad famous. And, if you ask your grandparents if they knew who Andrés Segovia was, the odds of them saying that they do know something about him, or at least know that he played guitar, is really high, which is crazy. Segovia traveled around the world and accepted hundreds, if not thousands of compositions from many composers around the world, most of which were guitarists, but some of which weren't. Of all the compositions that Segovia received, some of the most notable ones were from the likes of Federico Moreno Torroba, Manuel Ponce, Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco, and the great Joaquin Rodrigo. The rise of Segovia led to modern guitar concertos, it led to guitar masterclasses, guitar festivals, so many things that you'd see with other instruments that was not being seen with the guitar. Segovia's masterclasses and performances were iconic, and people would travel for thousands of miles just to hear him play, or just to play for 10 seconds in front of him at a masterclass. He ran a very tight ship in his masterclasses, but knew what he wanted all the time, which kind of made him a little bit polarizing, but when you are reinventing an instrument and what it stands for, it is important to know what you want, I think. The Segovia masterclasses are fascinating, and there are plenty of places where you can check them out on YouTube and whatnot. So, we began to talk about Andrés Segovia. He was born in Granada, and quickly became a very successful concert guitarist. We talked about how he wanted to reinvent the guitar and bring the guitar to composers who were not guitarists themselves. And we also talked about a little bit of his legacy and his contributions to the guitar today. In the next episode, we'll be talking about the music specifically. I know I mentioned a few composers before, but we're kind of going to go into a deep dive onto what makes Segovian era music so interesting and where it came from, and who it came from. In the third episode, we'll take a further look into Segovia's legacy and the long-standing effects his guitar playing, teaching, and values have had on the guitar today. We'll talk about some of his pupils, who you might know of, and a lot of the things in the guitar world and technique that we can thank Segovia for as well. I hope that you enjoyed this brief introduction to a great master of the guitar, and I hope that you can take a little bit of it with you when you go and decide to become the next Andrés Segovia. I look forward to sharing more with you in the coming weeks, and I hope that you have happy practice and that you stay safe. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Federico Musgrove, and I wanted to let you know about the upcoming symposium taking place in February of 2021. This time around, we're offering all schools around the country our symposium in a new virtual format, featuring an exclusive performance by flamenco master Grisha Gorechev. We're also offering technique classes and a composition workshop by Andrea Gonzalez Caballero and our own Ryan Ayers. So check it out, the virtual symposium in 2021 with performances, masterclasses, workshops, ensemble showcase, and more. Visit our website, guitarfoundation.org, for more information.
Hello and welcome to GFAtv. My name is Rene Izquierdo. I'm a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I'm a Cuban guitarist, concert guitarist. And I want to talk to you about a continuation of our foundations for the left hand. The first exercise that I would like to do after this will be one in which it's a variation of the book Pumping Nylon by Scott Tennant, in which he actually called walking on the guitar. So it will be pressing with the third finger and all the strings. Second, third, four, fifth, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, and go back to the center. Try to always finish on the center. And watch how when you're pressing on the third string, careful that your hand doesn't do this, because if the third finger is weak, it will have a tendency of just leaning and supporting with the forefinger and the other fingers making a sandwich. What you want to do is to try to find the balance, and that's what we were doing those exercises of dropping the hand and bringing the hand back up every time. See that natural separation? That's what you want. Then, same exercise with four fingers. you start, make sure you finish. You go through both the strings, all the way from 6 and then first, and go back to the center. Then you're gonna do second, okay, and then the same thing, and you can take time in between. It doesn't have to be fast at all. You can do 1 note per second, very slowly. Okay, and after you working all of the fingers, then you can start doing combinations of fingers. In one string, you can do open 3, open 2, open 1. That's, 2 notes. Open 1, that's 2. Open 2, that's another 2. Open 1, open 4. Okay? Just to keep that reference from the open string. Then we can do 1 and 2, and we're gonna move through the fingerboard. What do I mean by that? We're gonna start on the third string, moving to the first, going to the sixth, and back to the third. So 1 and 2. 1, 2, then jump into the next string, second, then first string, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, fifth, sixth, and then go back down to third. We want to maintain the third string as a center of our hand position. Good. Now, watch something that happens here. When I'm playing, is using something that we call weight shifting. What does that mean? It's like, imagine when you're sitting now and you're shifting your weight to one side and then shifting your weight to the other one. You see how naturally one side lifts off when you're putting pressure in one, and then here it lifts off. The left side lifts when I'm leaning on the right. Well, the same idea kind of here on the hand. So I'm gonna lean on the second, and when I lean on the second, that naturally releases. Look, I'm not lifting it. It naturally releases the finger from the string. So I will do 1, weight shift, and remember the thumb. The thumb, you can put both fingers at the beginning and figure out where your thumb wants to be. And again, like 2, this is 12, 1, 2, if you're looking clockwise. The idea is you're gonna play with the side of the finger, in between the full side and the flat side, so somewhere in here. So you put the fingers first, then find where your thumb wants to lay down naturally, without squeezing. You don't want to squeeze. You just want the thumb to be there as a reference. You're not squeezing against the thumb. So you're gonna do 1 and 2, weight shifting to 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, third string, and keep the weight shifting from first to second finger, first to second finger, first to second finger. Weight shift, so the other finger is empty and it's not pressing anymore. Okay? Then you're gonna do the same exercise with 2 and 3. Shifting to the third, then 2, 3, 2, 3 first and string, 2, 3 second string, 2, 3, 2, 3. We're walking through all the strings. 3, 2, 3, and go back to third string, fifth string, fourth, third. Okay? Then you're gonna do exactly the same thing with 3 and 4. 3, 4. Second string, then 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Watch how sometimes it will be a little bit difficult for you to actually move the third finger when the fourth finger is down. But you slow it down and you consciously, by transferring weight, it releases the finger. You transfer to 4, it releases the 3. And then the 3 can move. So we did 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. you don't have to do all 6 strings first. You can even do only the first 3 strings and then add the fourth, or the fourth, third, and second string, and then fifth, fourth, and third, and then eventually get all 5 strings and then all 6 strings. So you don't have to immediately from the very beginning try to reach all 6 strings, but rather you can do it in a accumulative fashion, just adding 1 string at a time. Thank you for watching, and happy practicing.
I'd like to show you now the bass line of this little video. So this song is kind of based on the C7 chord, and it's important to know which notes C7 or C dominant chord includes. So C major just has C, E, and G, and now we just add the dominant 7, it's a B flat, and these notes can be seen as the framework for the bass line. And of course, we can use these notes in different octaves. In the context of playing a bass riff, it definitely makes sense to look for rather lower notes. And what happens in between is kind of a chromatic approximation. So instead of just playing C and E, I could add E flat. Which just adds some kind of spicy, nice sound. And instead of just playing G, I could approximate G from F. Play F, F sharp, and then G. And then same thing, how can I go to C? With B flat, B, and C. So that's kind of just chromatic approximation. So if you have all notes of that riff together, you can choose between adding muted ghost notes or not. Without any muted ghost notes in between, it would sound like this. And with some muted 16th notes, it sounds like this. So the last thing I did was adding some hammer-ons. We have a hammer-on from E flat to E. Hammer-on. And from B flat to B. So every fourth time we have a little variation of that riff, which looks like this. So what happens here is it starts the same. C gives notes, a chromatic approximation to E, F, but now to the F that is an octave higher, sliding up to G, E flat, F, E flat, C, E flat, and then it starts again. So if we count along, it goes like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a... So have fun with this little riff and see See you soon!